You ever have one of those days where you open your mailbox expecting the usual bills or a feed catalog and instead you find a letter so outrageous you have to check twice to make sure it's not some kind of prank? Yeah, that's how my little war started, a war I never asked for, but one that came looking for me like a bad cold front. I'll tell you straight, by the time the dust settled, there were bulldozers, handcuffs, and enough lawyers crawling over my pasture to start a reality show. You think I'm joking? Just hang on. See, I've walked this land since I was a kid, right alongside my granddad Boots. Always a size too big, dogs running ahead through the fog every spring. Scout and Grizz still do that. Tails up, noses down like they own the place. The old fence posts out by the southern field, they've stood longer than I've been alive. And I always figured as long as I kept fixing the wire, mowing the fields, and paying my taxes, nobody would ever try to take what's mine. Turns out I underestimated the pure weaponized insanity of an HOA that thinks it's got a mandate from God. That morning I pulled a clean white envelope out of the box. Silver foil logo, fancy as a wedding invitation. Silver Deer Estates Homeowners Association. My gut told me this was going to be trouble. The letter inside was all lawyer talk and threats signed by a Karen Walcott like the universe was doing stand-up. Said the HOA had redrawn the boundaries and my southern 90 acres hay barn cattle run, the whole thing was now shared recreational space. And get this, I was supposed to hand over the gate key and access codes by 7:32 a.m. sharp Friday. Yeah, you heard that right. 7:32, like they were scheduling a dental cleaning, not a land grab. At first, I just laughed, right? Had to be a joke. My land's been Moss family since Eisenhower was president. No HOA, no shared roads, hell, not even a common ditch. But then I saw the map they'd stapled to the letter, all neat color overlays. Only now their greenway zone was drawn right over my property, like I was already erased. And as the sun burned through the fog, lighting up my fields, I realized these people weren't just bluffing. They were organized, they were bold, and they were coming for my family's legacy. Let me back up a sec, just so you see where my head was. The last week or two, I'd noticed little things: water bottles near the fence, boot prints by the west gate, barbed wire pushed back laughter, drifting through the trees after dark. I chalked it up to bored kids or maybe hikers lost from the state park, but now, holding that letter, I saw it different. This wasn't a prank, it was a slow-motion invasion, the kind where they wave paperwork instead of pitchforks. That same afternoon, I walked the fence line, dogs at my heels, and sure enough found a fresh boot print too small for me, maybe a woman, maybe a teenager. Fixed the wire, doubled the padlocks, checked every camera and motion sensor I had. Posted new signs, welded another warning to the gate just for good measure. Then I sat on my porch, black coffee in hand, staring at that sunrise and wondering what kind of neighbor thinks you can just vote away someone else's boundaries. Friday came just like they threatened. I'd been up since 5 watching the south field through binoculars like it was the DMZ. At 7:28, the sensor pinged, and by 7:32, like a bad dream, 2 white trucks rolled up orange cones, Kubota digger, 4 guys in vests, clipboards, and not a care in the world. They cut my chain like it was tissue paper, rolled the excavator onto my pasture, and started staking flags right through my irrigation line. Didn't even slow down to read the no trespassing signs. I swear the gall of these people. So I storm down their dogs, bristling blood hot, and say, "Get that damn machine off my land." Clipboard guy flashes me a corporate smile, says, "Sir, we're beginning phase 1 of the South Greenway Initiative." Like I'm supposed to just nod and thank him for stealing my hayfield. He tries to tell me my gate is now public access per revised zoning, you see. Grizz lets out a snarl. I start filming on my phone. And that's about when I call the sheriff. Now the sheriff's deputy, Roger's big guy, boots dirty, no time for HOA nonsense, shows up. Takes one look at the evidence. These guys hand him a glossy pamphlet, not even real paperwork, and tells them flat out, "You're trespassing. Shut it down." And just as he's laying down the law, up pulls the queen herself. Karen Walcott, sunglasses, blazer, and a smirk. you could skate on. She tries to sweet talk. The deputy throws legalese at him, says I'm obstructing community progress. He's not buying it. Tells everyone off the property right now or he'll arrest the whole lot. But that's just the start, you know what I mean? Because the next morning my attorney Don calls, turns out the HOA filed a forged property transfer at the county. They faked a boundary alignment, slipped it past some retired clerk, and now my land's showing up as joint use on the public record. There's even a fake deed stamped and dated, signed by a guy who's been dead for 2 years. Don's voice was tight. Garrett, this is criminal, not just overreach. We're going to court. We file an injunction, get a temporary restraining order, but the HOA doesn't blink. Instead, they double down, smear campaign flyers, glossy leaflets in every mailbox, painting me as a menace to public safety, accusing my dogs of terrorizing children, my cows of being hostile livestock. One morning, I find my irrigation line sliced open spray paint on my camera's tire tracks through the hay. The sabotage is deliberate, personal, and the final straw, a burned bottle like a Molotov minus the fire wedged against my barn. Message received. The next twist, because of course there's a twist, a young guy from the neighborhood, Travis, shows up at my door with a flash drive. Used to work IT for Karen, he says, until she fired me for asking questions. Thought you might want this. Inside are hundreds of files, emails, memos, meeting recordings, proof of collusion between Karen, the HOA, and a shell development company, Gem Developers, who already bought my land for $900,000, laundered through Delaware. The sale was a fiction, but the money moved offshore. And get this, one email literally reads, push him out early. Use kids if needed. That's how little they cared. So now we've got fraud, conspiracy, criminal racketeering. The DA brings charges. Karen gets hauled into court. The accountant flips and testifies. The developer CEO sings like a canary. In court, they play the audio of Karen's voice. Trust me. People like that always fold when they feel outnumbered. Only this time the jury doesn't fold. They come back guilty on all counts. Karen gets 14 years, the HOA is dissolved, my land is restored, and for the first time since this circus began, I can breathe. But you know what? The most satisfying part wasn't the $1 million settlement or the historic designation the county gave my farm. It was planting a row of young oaks under the old live tree out back, setting a plaque, "Land is earned, not stolen," and watching those saplings catch the sun where the HOA once tried to plant their damn flag. Now, the Silver Deer community is a shell. The newsletter is just gardening tips and passive-aggressive reminders about garbage bins. Karen's name isn't spoken. But me, I get letters from strangers. Wyoming, Tennessee landowners who heard the story and saw a little hope. The media called me the rancher who beat the HOA. I don't care about that. I just care that today every acre is still mine. And the next time someone comes with a silver-foiled envelope, they'll find Gates cameras and one stubborn old man who knows exactly where he stands. So, what do you think? Was it justice or just survival? Ever had to fight for something you thought was already yours? Drop a comment below. Tell me about your own battles where you drew your line, and if you think folks like Karen will ever learn. Me. I'm betting the next storm's already brewing somewhere. But for now, the sun's out, the dogs are sleeping easy, and the only letters I want to see in my mailbox are the ones with no HOA logo, just a little dust, and maybe a thank you for not giving in.